I got you.
All right, creatures of the night. Welcome to Talking Taker, episode 204 of our encyclopedic exploration digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, Scooby-Doo. Excuse me, The Undertaker. My name is Alex Doriot, and I can't believe I am welcoming you to this episode of Dead Man Talking. Thank you for joining us. I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my fellow creature of the night. He is the co-pilot on this mystery machine. He is the Scooby to my Shaggy, and the Velma to my Daphne. He is Mr. Travis White. Travis, I cannot believe it's taken us 204 episodes to get to Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the Speed Demon, starring our man, the world's
Undertaker.
#1 puppetry fan, The Undertaker.
Oh, I can't believe we're here. I didn't even know this was going to be a thing when we started this podcast. So we're here. We're here. We're ready. And yeah, man, it happened.
We are so ready. Yes.
And have you seen the one before this, the Mystery Mountain or WrestleMania Mountain or whatever it's called?
I have not. No.
Okay,
We went
me
into this
neither.
one blind. Yeah.
Yeah, we went into this. This is apparently the sequel to it. So we need to go back and do the Star Wars thing and do the. No, but Taker's not in that one. So
he's not in that one. No,
Yeah.
He's in some other WWE animated films, and we can talk about that later on. But yes, folks, we are actually—I can't believe it's true—we are reviewing The Undertaker appearing in the WWE Scooby-Doo animated feature. It's available streaming now on HBO Max for the time being. You know, you never know these days with HBO Max. You know,
Yeah.
what's going to be there today might not be there tomorrow, but we caught it while it was still on there.
And now they push back Aquaman and Shazam too. Warner Bros. Says. Anyway, you know what's funny? Everybody was like clamoring. I think about 12 million people watched House of Dragon or something the other day. I couldn't care less about that. Well, I was watching Scooby-Doo.
I literally thought that too.
You
I
watched it that night, probably.
We are probably the only two people in the world that are watching this instead of the Game of Thrones prequel.
Yeah.
I actually thought that as we were watching
Yeah,
it.
never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. So.
But we are, I mean, it heavily features The Undertaker. I mean, he is the co-lead along with the Mystery Gang in this movie. He's not just a side character. Like, there are some great side characters from the WWE Universe that are in this, and we're going to talk about all of them. But it heavily features him in a starring role on there, alongside, you know, Mr. McMahon, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Los Matadors,
El Torito,
The Miz, Rusev, Lana, Page, and
Sheamus.
In his swan song, in his posthumous performance, the legendary Dusty Rhodes. I mean, it's off the rails, man. I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
We're going to go in depth on that. We're going to review it, whether you've seen it or not. And I do recommend you checking it out. It is a very fun, easy watch here. But that's not all, man. We kind of got a double main event because as we talked about on last month's show, and as you may have already seen on our YouTube channel with our vlog from the weekend, you and I, Travis, got to spend an incredible time in Nashville at the end of July. So 2 months ago, now that this episode's coming out, this is our September episode, but end of July, we got to spend SummerSlam weekend in Nashville, and I got to attend the One Dead Man show, the very first edition of that. So of course we got to give you the full recap and the full scoop on both of those events as well. Lots and lots for us to talk about. Lots of fun stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we had so much fun, so many stories to tell. I brought some buddies with me, so yeah, we got lots of stories to tell about that weekend, and I guess we'll get into that first before we head into the main attraction, which is, I can't believe it, but Scooby-Doo.
This podcast has taken us to some wild places, man.
But I'm very much looking forward to today.
Well, let's throw it back, man. Let's throw it back to July of this year. Let's take the time traveling hearse. You know, kind of like we're taking.
It is the last weekend in July. It's almost August.
Yeah. But we'll jump in the Muscle Moto X and hop in our time traveling hearse back to July. It took place. SummerSlam was the 30th. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the One Dead Man show was on the 29th. So you want to start with that because that was chronologically first? So
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, This Undertaker One Dead Man show took place there in Nashville the night before SummerSlam, and fortunately you were not able to attend, but I was able to snag a ticket. Actually, I only got it a few days beforehand, and I was pretty surprised. They were going for $100 retail, but I actually got mine on the secondary market for $45 for the general admission.
Sweet.
So I was kind of thinking the crowd would be a little sparse for this, but it was not.
Yeah, you said it was a line. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I got out the door driving to Nashville a little later than I wanted to on Friday, and I was hoping to get there kind of early to make sure I got sort of as close to the stage as I wanted. I got general admission,
right? So you didn't have, you had to just get there and get a spot.
Yeah, and there's like 5 rows maybe of VIP.
Yeah.
And there was a meet and greet with Taker before the show. What you got with the VIP? I didn't have that. I had general admission.
Right.
And just looking, at the layout of the room online, you couldn't quite tell how big it was. I'd say there was, I'm bad at guesstimating, but I mean at least 500 people there. I think.
Yeah.
I don't. There wasn't 1,000. So somewhere, around that range. It was kind of hard to tell in there, but it was at this place called the Wild Horse Saloon in downtown Nashville.
Been there.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I've been to the Wild Horse Saloon before.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they have bands play there all the time. When we lived in Nashville, we would go there and eat and saw some people play and stuff. So
it's kind of a cool place.
And it's a neat place.
They used it all through the weekend. WWE did. They did the
tryouts,
NXT tryouts there. So yeah, they kind of took it over for the whole weekend. And yeah, man, I got downtown. Probably, I got to the venue kind of right when doors were opening, and I mean, line was wrapped for a few blocks downtown Nashville, and I was a little nervous, a little scared about my situation. But eventually, it really didn't take too long to get through the line. I talked with a few other Taker fans in there, and we get to the doors, and they've got signs for Undertaker, and they've got a live band in there playing before the show is starting. It's like the Zach Brown band if you ordered them off Wish.com. That's how I describe the band in there.
Zach with a Q.
Yeah.
Z-A-Q.
Just doing some classic rock covers, but it's
no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It was fun though.
I bet they were.
It was a good vibe. It set the vibe for the evening.
I tell you, that's one thing about living in Nashville, man. Is like sometimes you go to a karaoke bar or just out at the honky tonk or whatever, and you just hear bad music. But at Nashville, everybody's great. So even like the supposed to be bad stuff is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I'm sure the Zach Q Brown band was great.
But I don't have any video evidence of that because they actually, as soon as you go in the door in there and they scan the ticket, which is on your phone, they give you a pouch. It's called a Yonder pouch, a YONDR. And a lot of comedians use them. But it's like a magnetic or a pouch that they seal with a magnet on there, and you put your phone in it. They tell you to make sure it's on silent, and there is no getting it out until you walk out the door at the end of the show. Or if you need to leave, they'll do it for you. If you need to call or check on your wife, you got to walk out and let them unseal it and walk out of the venue and before you walk back in. So they were nervous about, didn't want any of this footage to get out, didn't want Undertaker to get canceled or anything like that if he said something inappropriate on the stage. Wow. I guess I don't know, but that's crazy. Super serious about it. Yeah, trying to protect this event so they can take it on the road so it doesn't get out. But I have my questions about why they really needed to do that. I'll get to that here in a little bit. But so we got in there, we waited maybe 30 minutes or so. There's no clocks. I can't look at my phone, so it's like I don't know what time it is. I don't know when he took the stage exactly, but it's a kind of a concert venue, a smaller concert venue with a couple of bars and stuff, and they had some seats out there on the dance floor and everything. Finally, the band goes off the stage. They bring out a table, like a bar table, and a bar stool sitting right next to it, and they put a bottle of Jack and a pitcher of water up on the table. So that's gonna be Undertaker's stage for the night. And finally, Ben Brown, not Zach Brown, but Ben Brown, the WWE archivist, has been on the Untold Treasures show, Buried Treasures show, all that.
Yeah,
you probably know him.
that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes out and he like basically introduces
Golly, I was
the
thinking
show.
about the guy from Crazy Taxi. What's the show called? Cash Cab.
Oh,
Ben,
that would have been great.
Ben. That's like anyway. Sorry, that's what I pictured in my head. Sorry, go ahead. Crazy Taxi. It's called Cash Cab, bro.
Taxi Cab Confessions.
No. Whoa. No.
And he actually gets booed off the stage when he comes out too. Like, so the crowd is rowdy. Everybody's been drinking. It's like 10:30 at night, so the crowd is rowdy, and they boo him off the stage. He introduces the Undertaker, and he comes out, gets a standing ovation and all that. And the first thing he says is, "What have I gotten myself into?" He's got a handheld microphone. He's not doing the Britney Spears mic gimmick for this show like he did for the Hall of Fame. No, he didn't do that. But he says, "You guys just booed my hype man. I'm sitting there in the back with my butt puckered because I'm so nervous about this, and y'all just booed my hype man. Like, can you guys cut me a break?"
That's crazy.
And he did. He definitely showed his nerves, especially in the first 15 minutes or so of the show. Kind of felt like he had a few stories pre-planned, but he didn't quite know where to go with the show at first. He was definitely, and he mentioned that multiple times. Like, this is the first time I've done anything like this. Yeah, we're kind of testing it out. We want to take it on the road and do more of them, which they are. They're doing it for Clash of the Castle. Cardiff, 2 shows, Clash of the Castle. Which is great. I love it. I hope there's many more of them. And they did film this. There were WWE camera crews there. It was an official WWE event. They have WWE logos everywhere. So who knows? There may be footage of it that shows up at some point somewhere online or on streaming. But he kind of started talking just some random stories at first. And one of the stars of the show was our boy. Not the Godfather, although he did talk about the Godfather a bit, but our other boy, he calls him Tex, a.k.a. Midian. Midian came up in so many great stories on the show. He says that Midian is the one guy who he knows is always going to be honest with him about anything. He says he's a guy, you've always got that one friend who will call you no matter what, 12:30 at night. They pay no attention to what time it is, but they'll call you. And he says he'll always answer it for him. But he knows when he calls him at 12:30 at night, he knows that Tex, Midian, is going to be high. And so he said he called him the other night. He asked him if he was high, and Midian just kind of like, just did a little chuckle. He said, Midian told him that everyone online is saying you ruined their childhood by breaking kayfabe at WrestleMania at the Hall of Fame speech. And Taker says, "Brother, I was the only one keeping kayfabe for 10 years. How are you going to get mad at me?" He says, people in the back used to come up to me like, or used to whisper around me like, should we tell him? Should we tell him it's not fake anymore? But he says he talked about his biography, which had just aired recently, and he said he actually learned something from that biography episode. He said he always thought that Vince canceled their first meeting back in 1990 because of Brutus the Barber Beefcake's parasailing injury. And he had to go check on Brutus the Barber Beefcake. But apparently, according to that biography, it was just because Vince didn't see much of The Undertaker. And Taker said he was sitting there 32 years later watching this on A&E like, and he got out his phone and started texting.
Probably called Vince up. Vince retired at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Vince. Yeah.
And he talked about that biography and his mom stealing the show, and said that his mom and Sid are going out for a 2-man show starting sometime soon.
I would pay top dollar to see that.
Absolutely.
Hero. Anyway, go ahead.
He talked about the Joe Rogan podcast he was on a while back too, and all the controversy about him talking about video game stuff on that. And he said he tried to clarify that, and he says, "Look, I that could sound hypocritical coming from me. I played dominoes all day back in the stuff. Yeah. We played board games. We did all that sort of stuff." But he said what he's really talking about is it's different when you're with their lower card guys backstage walking around wondering why they can't get ahead when all they do is play video games.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that's what he's talking about. He says he made a great point and said the easy thing to do is to learn how to wrestle, and the hard thing to do is to figure out how to make people care about seeing you wrestle. And he thinks that's what a lot of young guys need to learn.
Yep.
But he put over the new generation, not the young generation, not the new generation from '95. But
Yeah.
he put over these guys. He said, they're the most gifted athletes he's ever seen in wrestling, and he does think things are getting better and doing well.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, that was kind of the first 15 minutes of the show. He's kind of just he had a couple planned things he wanted to say, but he was just kind of wandering, kind of pacing the stage, didn't really know how to get from one story to the other. Definitely could feel the nerves there. But then he started taking questions from the audience, about 15, 20 minutes into the show. And that is where,
that quick?
Yeah, it was very quick.
Wow.
But I think that's for the future. If you're listening to this and you're taking notes, that's what this show needs to be. It's just fan questions from the audience, because they really got him going. They got him off on the stories that we all wanted to hear and what we were there for, and that was the bread and butter of this experience. So unfortunately, the microphone with the questions was like on the other side of the arena or venue from where I happened to sit. Which I didn't realize was going to be it. And Ben Brown was over there, holding the mic and getting people to ask questions. And as soon as they opened the floor for questions, 15 people stormed over there. I wanted to ask a question. I wanted to jump up there, but they were already turning people away by the time I could have done that.
What would you have asked?
Oh, I would have asked him to be on the podcast.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask about how he made it from the same question I asked Russo.
That would have been a good
Why
one.
were his parents buried in Long Island, New York?
Or I would have asked him about Turco's carabiner.
Well, oh, yes, the carabiner. What's the deal with the carabiner? Yeah, no, that's awesome. If any of you listening get to go to the show in Cardiff or anywhere, ask him Turco's question about what's up with the carabiner during the American BA days.
Yep, that's the burning question.
Everyone's going to ask him about Hell in a Cell, losing to Brock, blah, 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 blah. Ask him about the carabiner. He will be thrown off, but answer something that we've never heard.
I will say there were some great questions, some not obvious ones.
Good.
Definitely, there were, like I said, some very hardcore Undertaker fans in the audience. A lot of kids in the audience, which was fun and kind of surprising for how late at night it was in downtown Nashville. But a lot of kids. It's cool that they're fans of Undertaker, too.
Yeah.
You need to pause?
No, we're good. It's my wife.
Okay. What's up? So the first question was SummerSlam weekend. What was your favorite SummerSlam match? And Taker said it's between 97 or 98. He put over Bret Hart and talked about him leading the way in that match. But then he talks about 98 and the big leg drop spot from that match. He jumps off the top rope through the table on a Stone Cold Steve Austin. He says him and Stone Cold had talked about that before the show started. And they said, well, no, we'll use that spot in case of emergency. If things gonna go off the rails, we'll go to that spot and we'll bring everybody back in. But he didn't bother even going up to the top rope and seeing how far it was gonna be, because he was like, it's me and Stone Cold Steve Austin and MSG, we're gonna be fine. Yeah. Turns out I had an emergency and Stone Cold got concussed and the match went haywire, so they had to do that spot, and Taker got up on that top rope and had not realized how far away that table was and ended up busting his tailbone on that
is
one.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine that nowadays? That you can't just call an audible like that and do it. They got to have the cameras in the right spot.
It's all planned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude. That it was just we might need this. We won't need this. We need this. Yeah. Just how quickly the tables turn. No pun intended.
The next question was about who could keep up with Undertaker the most at the bar, and Taker said it had to be Yokozuna. He was the one who could go drink for drink with him and tell some stories. He kind of told some similar stories on the table for five about having to carry the Godwins back up to the hotel rooms when they would get drunk, and he talked about the BSK. One night they were out drinking and they basically saved Scott Hall and Shawn Michaels from getting beat up outside a bar one night. They were in trouble, and I guess this was not the famous time where Shawn got beat up by
the Marines.
5 to 27 Marines outside of a bar somewhere, but a different time. And they were about to get beat up, and then Taker, he did an impression of like Yoko, of Savio Vega, of Godfather, of all of them, like walking out of the bar, and like that crew coming up.
Yeah.
And the people that are wanting to beat up Sean and Razor just kind of like slowly backing Homer Simpson out of the bushes, basically. All right.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? These guys are all 6.5 feet tall, over 250. Like, what are you gonna do?
So, he kind of says, the BSK and the Clique, it didn't have as much heat as people act like they did. But one guy I did have heat with, and this was the highlight of the evening for me, was this story about Hulk Hogan. Because the next fan asked him, all right, Taker, when did you feel like you made it in your career? And he says, Survivor Series 1991 when he won the title. Then he says, should I tell the truth about what happened between me and Hulk Hogan that night? Because I don't ever really talk about that. Yeah, crowd was like, absolutely. So he goes into this story. He says, Hulk Hogan, back in those days, everybody got to the building around, 11 or 12 on the night of a show. Hogan would roll in around 4 or 5 p.m. usually. He's the champ. He's Hogan. He can do what he wants. But that day, Survivor Series 1991, he says Hogan was there at 11 o'clock. As soon as the doors opened, Hogan was there. And he took Taker aside, and he said he wanted to go talk with him about the match that night. And they met in the shower, which is where all the business was done back then, fully clothed. Taker pointed out. And Hulkster explained to Taker that he'd been having a real bad neck, brother.
Because didn't Brody get stabbed in the shower? So they took care of all kinds of business in the shower.
Indeed.
Yeah. Jeez.
Well, Hogan said, I see that tombstone move you got there, brother. It's a good move there, brother. But just need you to protect my neck. My neck's been giving me a lot of problems lately. And Undertaker's like, of course, man. I always, I won't let anything happen to you. I got you, man. He says like that the rest of the day, anytime he passed Hulk Hogan in the hallway, Hulk Hogan would just point to his neck and just go, brother, brother. And Taker's doing this impression the whole time. He's hilarious. Like I said, he's great when he's just riffing on these stories.
Yeah.
And he's not like trying to go over a script in his head.
Yeah,
he's just shooting. So he says, match happens. It's they're doing their thing. He goes for the tombstone, and he feels like he's got Hogan good and protected. But as soon as he goes down, he just hears Hogan go, oh, and just like sell like he's dead. And they do the finish. Taker pins him. He wins the title. But Hogan is like getting stretchered out, and he can't even celebrate. He can't even be happy because he thinks he's just killed the golden goose. He's just ruined his career.
Hulkamania.
He gets backstage. Hogan is just surrounded by EMTs, and all I can see is doctors working on him, and his yellow boots sticking out there. I lost your video.
I'm here.
Okay, all right. Just making sure. Okay.
Yeah. I got a phone call. Sorry, I'm here.
It's okay. You just saw those yellow boots. Taker heard him calling his wife and getting put in the ambulance. And he's just, like you say, he's panicking. His whole family's there. He's supposed to be going out and celebrating with him, but he can't even be happy about it. And he starts wondering, do I need to call WCW again? Do I need to start looking for work in Japan? Whatever. And says, back then we couldn't just like go rewatch the show. They didn't have a tape of it yet. But a few days later on the loop, they had a tape of the show, so he could finally see what happened. And he says he's watching the match back. He's just sitting there. He's nervous. He's waiting. He's watching. And they get to the tombstone spot. And then Taker says, I see the tombstone happen. And he just holds his hands up about 6 inches apart from each other. He's just shaking his head, holding his hands up like that. Missed it by that much.
Yeah.
He says, I've given stiffer tombstones to my kids. And says Hogan didn't even have enough hair to hit the ground from how high up he was from that tombstone. So he said the next time he saw Hogan was the rematch at this Tuesday in Texas. And this time Taker called Hogan into the shower on that night. He says, he said from that point on he knew what kind of man Hogan was when they got in the shower, and Hogan's started talking about, well, you just held my neck so tight that I had nowhere to go and I couldn't move it from when I landed there, brother. And was trying to put over all this nonsense. And so that was really the only burial or anything like that we got from Taker on that night. But he explained why him and Taker have a bit of a salty relationship. But it was great to finally hear that whole story.
Yeah, hear it from him, because that's kind of what we I remember pointing that out in episode, what was that, 3 or 4 of our show, just how like there was a mile in between the chair and Hogan's head, and like I don't know, but so yeah, it's nice to hear from him, because he never went out and spilled those beans until that night, it seems like, to be in public. So
and that's how much of a professional he is, and how much respect he has for the business, is that he sat on that story for so long. Yeah,
can you imagine nowadays if that had been some young kid, he'd have been on Twitter immediately complaining about it or whatever, walking out or something like that. So,
and he's still telling it in like a private forum too.
Yeah,
essentially, he's not putting it out there on YouTube or on a podcast or anything. I'm putting it on a podcast because I can do that.
Yeah, he's not out.
He's not coming after me.
No.
Tells a story about his first year wrestling. He had to go see the tax man, not IRS, thankfully. And he just carried a big bag full of receipts with him. And the tax man was doing his taxes and said, son, can I give you a little bit of advice? And Undertaker was like, sure, absolutely. Because he'd never really done his taxes before. And the IRS guy was like, I think you need to get a new job, because you have $10,000 of income last year and you had $11,000 in receipts. And you drove 55,000 miles on your car in 8 months working in the Memphis territory for Jerry Lawler. And Taker's like, that's just paying your dues.
Yeah, that's how it is.
That's how it was, man.
The wrestling business is a funny business.
All right, a couple more stories here as it was kind of wrapping up, and I'm really not even doing justice. I'm sure I'm missing stuff that he talked about as well. But another great story. He talked about someone asked him about his worst roommate on the road, and Taker thought about it, and he said back when he was Mean Mark in WCW, he for a little while he drove around with, listen to this car ride right here, Wildfire Tommy Rich,
awesome,
Teddy Long,
awesome,
and the Iron Sheik.
Oh, Bubba.
1990.
Oh, Bubba.
Oh, Bubba. And he said he had the room with Sheiky Baby. He was the green guy in the territory, so he had to take care of Sheiky Baby. So he remembered one night waking up at 4:30 in the morning and just being freezing cold in this hotel room. And he looked around and the balcony door was open. And he went outside and he saw the Iron Sheik on the balcony, butt naked, doing squats on the balcony of this hotel room at 4:30 in the morning. And
Polar squats.
And Sheik said, "Hey, Bubba, it's the best time in the day to do these squats. Best time in the day." Taker said, "All right." And I went back to bed. Tried to go back to sleep again for a minute, and then woke up again another couple hours later. And he said this time he woke up to the sound of the hairdryer in the hotel room that he was sharing with the Iron Sheik.
Who?
The hairdryer.
If you're not familiar. Doesn't have a lot up top.
Doesn't have a lot up top. So Taker, of course, he's like, I gotta see this. And gets out of bed, turns around, looks into the bathroom, and Iron Sheik, again, butt naked, is blow drying his mustache.
So good.
Curling that mustache, blow drying it. He says, no worries, I'm halfway done. Halfway done. 15 more minutes.
Oh boy. That's it. This show's over.
He could have ended right there.
Oh, I meant this show. It's no longer gonna top that.
He told a story about driving with Paul Bearer. This is the story right here. And a little 8 or 9-year-old kid asks him why he's afraid of cucumbers. And Taker immediately throws the mic down, goes over to the bottle of Jack, pours himself a shot, and takes a shot.
Good at improv.
He was. It was great comedy, and he picks the mic back up and says, it's not that I'm afraid, it's just that I don't like them, okay? So he explained his mom served him cucumbers in a bowl of vinegar when he was a kid, and he threw up from having to eat that, and from then on he never liked the taste of them. So, of course, somehow the boys found out through Paul Bearer, and they put some in his drink one time when he went to the bathroom, and he drank a big old swig of his drink with cucumbers in it, and he gagged and embarrassed himself in front of everybody. But he said he got Paul Bearer back from that occasion. The next day, they were driving in the car and trying to hit the next town, and Paul Bearer says, "All right, next exit, you need to pull over. I need to go to the bathroom." And Taker's like, "Oh, absolutely, of course. We'll hit the next exit." And they're driving down the road, and exit goes by, and Taker doesn't pull off, and Paul's like, "I think you missed the exit back there." And Taker's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. We'll hit the next one." And they drive, and the next exit rolls by, and Paul says, "This next exit, come on, man, you gotta take this. I'm about to pee my pants." Taker's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it." And Taker said he just kept doing that until Paul Bearer pissed his pants right there in the rental car. And that's how he got back at Paul Bearer for that moment.
It's your receipt, Paul.
That's your receipt. Don't make Undertaker eat a cucumber, or he will make you pee yourself.
Pee your pants. Wow, that's amazing.
And then he actually, last question of the night, I can't even remember what the guy asked, but Undertaker brought him up on stage to share a shot with him on stage. Just a fan, not one of the kids. This guy
That's good.
Seemed to be of legal age.
Seemed to be.
It seemed to be, yes. But Taker said the only thing he likes more than wrestling is drinking and talking about wrestling. So he thanked the fans for letting him do that tonight. Said it's a work in progress. There will be more of these. His music starts to play and he starts to pose, but then he grabs the mic and cuts the music off. And last thing he did was ask if there are any military or first responders in the audience. He says, "I should have done this at the beginning. I meant to, but I just want to say thank you to all of you out there." Throat slash fist raise pose, the end.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude, it really was. I wish you could have been there. We would have had a blast there. Would have been cracking up at it.
If they would announce it, like, I don't know, in order, like, that it was going to happen before SummerSlam, like, I would have been nice to have known that months before. But anyway.
I think, obviously, anybody listening to this, it'll be worth your money to go to it because, and this is why I said, I don't think you even need to worry about people recording this because it's going to be a different show no matter where you go because people are going to ask different questions. And that's what's going to be so cool and unique about it. The more they focus on the Q&A part, there's going to be so many new stories coming out, and he's got endless stories that he could talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I would say I hope that they do it in more of an intimate setting because the crowd was not the best. They weren't like disrespectful, but there was a lot of chatter and people going to get drinks and food and everything. So it wasn't like a perfect environment for this. And I think that was part of why Taker, it might have been more of a struggle at first to keep everybody engaged and involved. But people weren't like heckling him too much.
Right.
It was a little bit of that going on, or not heckling, but just people yelling out stupid wrestling fan stuff, trying to get themselves over.
Yeah.
But overall, man, an incredible start to SummerSlam weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I hate that I missed it, but you went, and then you got me this.
I did. I went to the SummerSlam Superstore, got you the exclusive Nashville Country Music is in My Heart Double J Jeff Jarrett t-shirt. If you're not watching on
working
YouTube.
hard on the go. That's right, man.
Why did he not come out to that at SummerSlam?
I don't know.
You could have had all of Nissan Stadium singing along.
This is a marquee classic, though.
And it
is a collector's item now because as of this recording, Double J is GOONNE gone. But he could be back by the time this episode drops. Who knows? He left and Road Dogg came in, so it's reverse 95.
Exactly.
So I love it.
Pulling a reverse 95 right there.
Yeah, so it's awesome.
You can see some of me going to the SummerSlam Superstore. It wasn't really that super there, but it was right next to the Wild Horse Saloon. A little bit of that in our YouTube video. But, man, I've been gabbing and gabbing, man. Tell me about your journey to SummerSlam on Nashville. And why don't you just you take over kind of telling us about SummerSlam Day, and I'll try to
I will. I want to get to the main event, though, of Scoob. But,
but there's a lot of good stuff to talk about.
There is some good stuff. Me and my buddies Brett, Glenn, and Trey all came. Now Trey is a fan. He's the one I went to the house show with a few months ago. Trey's a fan. Brett was a big fan back in the day. Loves Mick Foley's his favorite wrestler. So he had a Cactus Jack shirt on. He got Now, Glenn is a little younger than all of us, and he was like a, fan back in the day, like just, watched it with his uncles and his dad, and like went to a show or two. Nothing, no televised event, no pay-per-view, nothing. I don't think Brett had been anything that big either, but Trey never been to pay-per-view either. So it's a big deal for all of them to come. So, yeah, we packed up here in Nashville and got in Trey's dad's truck or expedition or whatever and drove that way and stopped at good old Buc-ee's. Which if you're not from the South, you probably don't care or know what that is, but it is new to this area of Tennessee, but it is a gigantic convenience store, gas station. I saw a video yesterday, they called it Gas Pro Shop. So I thought
Gas Pro Shop.
You can get anything that you want there. But anyway, we had a great time there. I know it sounds too stupid, but it's just a blast, man. I called it Disney World for adults. I loved it. It was fun. We went in there. Trey brought his world championship title. I think you guys can see pictures of it in our video and stuff. So Glenn wore it into Buc-ee's. I wore it back into Buc-ee's, and we put it on Buc-ee and had him hold on the little statue of the beaver. And I'd say, honestly, about 40% of the people in Buc-ee's were wrestling fans. They were all on the way to Nashville. They had NWO shirts or Ric Flair shirts or, Bloodline. Dude, Bloodline shirts everywhere. Everywhere were Bloodline shirts. I mean, in Nashville, in Buc-ee's, on the way to Nashville. Anyway, everywhere we were Bloodline shirts. So those guys are over, man. So it was fun. We're seeing people in there. I'm just, got a Ric Flair shirt, and we're wearing the title in there, and people like just looking at it and stuff. And some people were jealous, and some people were just like looking at us. I was like, oh, what's up, dude? And I just, wrestling fans are fun to mess with sometimes because they're really, really, really like super wrestling fans that are socially awkward are really fun to mess with because they don't expect you to talk to them in public. They just, they're fun. I had more fun with them in downtown Nashville. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, yeah, we saw that in the YouTube video.
Yeah,
a little taste of that.
Yeah, a little taste of that.
I don't think people understand Buc-ee's is a massive.
It's 120 gas
stop.
pumps. One. Yeah, it's not even a truck stop. They don't even allow trucks. It's you can't. No, your trucks can't overnight there. They can't fill up there. Nothing. It's a gas station.
That's the vibe of it. Like that's what I mean. Like
it's 120 gas pumps. It's a convenience store, but it's a gas station. It's huge. It's got.
I mean, when you say there's people there, it's not like you go to the gas station and there's or the truck stop and there's 20 or 40
it's like
people
Nissan
there.
Stadium.
I mean, there's a couple hundred people in there milling about, and So when you said it's crowded and there's wrestling fans everywhere, I mean, it's packed.
Oh yeah, it's hundreds of people in there, and they sell brisket sandwiches and this and that and the other, and they got little beaver nuggets and all kind of stuff. So anyway, good time. We had a great time there. I mean, I could have just lasted another hour there eating all this crazy stuff. Anyway, we head to Nashville. We get there. Long story short, we try to find a parking spot to just hang out. Turns out parking in downtown was the same amount I paid for parking at Nissan Stadium. So we just hopped across the river and parked at the stadium and then just walked to downtown and met you down there on the busy street. And I felt like I was on Bourbon Street, dude. Nashville's changed a lot since I left. It's brutal in the daytime. Even now,
so busy. But like you said, lots of wrestling fans there.
Yeah. Lots of wrestling
Lots
fans.
of Bloodline shirts, like you said. I think that
a
was
lot
the
of
most
Bloodline shirts.
T-shirts I saw.
And then NWO shirts, man. And like, I don't know, man. I don't understand why when I throw up a too sweet, why I don't immediately get a too sweet back. And you do the too sweet, and that's what it is. Because when we were in middle school, that's what you did. You did it in the hallways. You did it in life. It's just what you did. You didn't have to have a shirt on. But like, I'm like, oh, this guy's got an NWO shirt on. He should know what I'm doing. I throw a too sweet up, and he just looks at me like I have 16 heads. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't understand. But in your defense, in their defense, you said some of them haven't even been born yet. They just had that shirt because of their parents or the network or something like that. So who knows? You never
or they're
know.
just socially awkward.
Yeah, or they're just socially awkward.
Probably that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it was fun, man. But we went downtown and then we wound up eating and then going to the show, and we had the cheapest seats we could get, basically $35 top shelf seats. But man, I didn't even mind the view at all. I would do the same seats or even a little bit lower just next year. I don't want floor seats. It's flat. You can't see people standing up in front of you. We were up on the top. If you saw all the pyro going off during the show, we were right in front of all that basically. So, and they had half the arena basically tarped off, and some people were like making fun of it and saying they couldn't sell out and this and the other. And I'd read a report after the show saying that was the intention. They weren't intention. They didn't intend to sell out the whole thing. I mean, obviously you intend to, but once they realized they weren't, they were like, we're just going to tarp off half, because I couldn't even get seats on that side of the arena. I remembered. Okay. So it was planned, it seemed like, because it was like WWE tarps. It wasn't just like ones they rolled out. It was pretty professionally done. And then when you watch it back on the network, you see the drone shots and everything. It looks really cool the way they shot it. And if they'd have had, like, even that side was half full, it would have looked pretty crappy. So they probably, honestly, did a good job of filling up the one half of the arena. So it was cool. But, yeah, the show was just a blast, man. I mean, I said really 10 out of 10 afterward. That may have been a little recency bias, but it was up there for me for one of my favorite SummerSlams, dude. Like, 97, 02 are phenomenal. 2000's great, but like, this one is probably one of my top 5, like, overall. Like, now taking a month back and looking at it, like, being there obviously had some bias, but like, sure, other than that, is awesome, dude. Just top to bottom was a fun show, and stuff that shouldn't have been fun was fun. Like Logan Paul, man, was a blast. That match was a blast.
I think every match was at least, good. There was nothing bad on the show. No. Everything was fun or short or brisk enough that you got by with it. But yeah, dude, like Logan Paul. I'm going to hit you with a hot take here. One of the hottest takes of the year right here.
All right.
Logan Paul, if he wants to, could be the next Kurt Angle / Ronda Rousey. And what I mean is he is just a freaking natural at professional wrestling. He's certainly not the athlete that either of those people were.
Right.
But you both Kurt and Ronda, and even Brock to an extent, as soon as they came in, they got it. They got the character. They got the wrestling. I mean, they just had it immediately. They didn't do a lot of training beforehand. They just transitioned right into wrestling. And if Logan Paul wanted to go full-time into wrestling, he could probably be champion by next year, because he is that good. And he got over as a babyface. Like, we were all joking about that this crowd's going to hate him. But, like, by the time he's doing that frog splash through the table on Miz, like, that crowd ate it up. And like, I hate that guy, but I was cheering for him against Miz. They just totally worked. And kudos to Miz, because he did a great job.
He's the best.
Carrying that match. But I really do believe that kid is a freaking natural at the in-ring stuff and the character stuff as well.
Yep.
And that's a hot take, but.
You're right, man. And the fun thing, one of the really fun things for me this night was getting to see. So, like, again, Brett and Glenn not being huge fans. It was Glenn. I mean, he remembers Rey Mysterio when he was a kid, but he remembers like WWE Rey Mysterio, like 05, 06, 07, because he's 28 years old. So he's a wrestling generation behind his face. I mean, 8 years is a whole wrestling generation, So anyway, just to see like him be like getting excited about Rey Mysterio and like Edge coming back, and then like the Logan Paul stuff, like the high spots, like it was just fun to watch somebody who like get into it. I'm not gonna say he's a avid fan now watching every Monday or Friday, but like all those guys are gonna come over and watch Clash of the Castle with me here at the house. Like they're all gonna come over again. Yeah, we're gonna watch it. After the show, they're like, let's get together and watch these all the time. Like yeah, that's a blast. Like you don't have to watch the weekly shows. You can make it. The video packages will bring you back into the loop, So anyway, but just watching that was fun, And right before the show, Trey and I go to the bathroom, and the guy is like, we're asking each other, hey, what do you guys want? You want something? You want something? You need something? Coke, water, corn dog, whatever it is. And this dude on the end of the aisle is like, hey, man, what's that stuff we used to eat when we were younger? And apparently we missed out on the Chappelle show, because apparently this was a huge joke back when we were in college, maybe. We missed out. So Trey goes, I don't know, corn dogs? And the guy gives us the real answer, and it is XXX rated. And children were sitting there, and his wife yells at him, and we could not believe what we just heard. And so we were like, whoa! And so we walked down and got our
Was it Jerry the King Lawler?
It might as well have been Jerry the King Lawler. So, but it was broad daylight, children around. This dude is just dropping words, and it was just funny. So anyway, if you know Chappelle Show, you know the answer to that question. But we did not have that. We had corn dogs. And so anyway.
The opposite of that.
Yeah, no, we actually had waters. So anyway, it was a good time, man. And then, I mean, what are you going to say about Brock bringing a freaking tractor out.
Gosh.
I know people complain about Brock and Roman. I could watch those guys clang and bang all day. I love those two guys, and I knew this was gonna be special. And when we saw the tractor come out, man, we knew something was happening with that. Because again, we can see it coming out as as Roman's entering and everything. We see all the production people coming out. So, but yeah, so watching him do that, it was just a blast. What a sight to behold! Like, you may not remember that SummerSlam 20 years from now, but you're going to remember that visual.
I mean, I thought it was a great main event. It was exactly what it needed to be.
Yes.
Because I was one of those people that didn't want to see. The last show I went to was WrestleMania 34, so I saw Brock and Roman then. And it's like, oh my God, 4 years later, still, again. But it was totally different, totally fun with all the last man standing stuff. I mean, not a lot of wrestling. It was a show. It was sports entertainment, but it was fantastic. I mean, yeah, Paul Heyman taking a table bump, the ring getting flipped over. I mean, you will never forget that. And it was perfectly well done. Exactly what that match should have been and needed to be to make it interesting, to make it fun. And great thing to do in the stadium, just this big production to get everybody into it.
And a great way to usher in the Triple H era that we're now in. It was just the whole pay-per-view was a great night to, it's nothing against Vince or anything, but it was definitely more of a Triple H feel, So it was a really, really fun show. A lot of cool surprises and high spots. And like I said, every match was at least good. Nothing was like thumbs down. Like even the match I was looking forward to almost the most, which was the tag match, was probably one of my least favorites, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it was there's something missing, even though it had old Double J. I think I'm rocking here, but it was still a great match. So.
Can you tell me why? That was one thing I never got, was they're bringing in Double J, Jeff Jarrett, to be like this enforcer for this match. Jeff Jarrett's whole character forever has been basically like he's just this. The word you were trying to say earlier.
Exactly.
He's a coward. He's like a chicken bleep heel.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's like this tough guy enforcer for this match between New Day and Street Profits.
It's just a natural thing.
Day, Usos and Street Profits.
Usos, it's just a Nashville thing. Get the hometown boy there. So, but anyway,
we didn't get Taker, but we did get Kane.
Got Kane, and
Kane.
If I may, I read last month. You guys, I talked about a little boy named Aiden whose mom was taking him. I'm going to go ahead right now on this point in the show and just talk about his mom told me some examples or some of his experiences from that night. So I'm going to go ahead and read them now. So she's just saying that, he got to see Kane and Edge, and he loves those two guys. And he was like getting to see them live and in person was like a big deal to him. And he wants to be just like Riddle and Brock Lesnar, as she said. And got to see Riddle, even though he wasn't an official match. That whole beat down with him and Seth was pretty cool and pretty fun.
I didn't. I was in the bathroom. They're on that.
No, that's true. You were.
I didn't even know until you said something like an hour later.
Yeah. And she said that he looked up at Brock on the tractor and said, "Mom, I'm going to be just like him one day." Mom.
I hope so.
Yeah. So Aiden, you got it, buddy. And then she said he lost it when Brock lifted the ring. They had 4 seats now. They were down there.
Whoa.
They were down low at least. So anyway, and she said it kind of came full circle for her because she remembers watching Ray and Brock debut in WWE in 2002.
Oh,
and so now she's 20 years later.
Yeah.
She's a little younger than us too, but she's 20 years later watching those two same guys wrestle in the first place, which she never thought she'd see. And then watching with her son, who loves him too. So I just thought that's pretty cool. So I wanted to just share that here. And it was a fun night. And one of the best parts was when we were leaving, we get in. We're getting on the elevator to leave. You're with us. We're all leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, the elevator. It's a hot summer night. We get on the elevator, and this dude just takes his shirt off, and we're just like, "All right, I guess we're doing this." And
Bastion Booger took his shirt off. I mean, basically,
his bat looked like Grumpy Cat. It was wild. it was wild. So that was fun. So if you're that guy and you're listening, we want you to write us.
We want you to put your shirt back on. Is what we want you.
Yeah. But then we go to leave, man, and it takes us about an hour to get out of the parking lot. This is all the stuff you haven't heard yet because
it took me about an hour to get an Uber.
So, I bet it did.
And so
the cool thing about parking in the stadium is that you get to park there. The bad thing about parking in the stadium is that you get to park there, and everyone else parks there, and they're all leaving. And they have like the parking lot we were coming out of, like half of it's blocked off, so you can only go one way. Anyway, well, as we're waiting there to go, we're in, again, Trey's dad's vehicle. And a guy keeps, like, we're going, and a guy keeps inching. If you're watching, you can see this. If you're listening, just pay attention. The guy's, like, inching up behind us, like, to turn in, like, to cut in front of the car behind us. Well, we go up, and he keeps inching, and I'm like, dude, this guy's going to hit us. And sure enough, he just rolls into us.
What?
Into the bumper.
In the parking deck.
In the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. And so I look out the window, and a lady next to me is like, he just hit you. So Trey puts the car in park. I get out of the car, and I was like, I threw my hands up. I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, what? I said, you just hit us. And Trey gets out, and the guy's like, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. I said, your bumper is on our bumper. He's like, no, man. I was like, no, please back your car up. And Trey's like, back your car up. I mean, we weren't being mean. It's just like,
right.
Dude, you're hitting us.
Of course.
So he rolls his car backwards like 6 inches, and the bumper finally pops back out. So I'm like, dude, you dented the bumper. And Trey's like, what are you doing, man? He's like, oh, I didn't hit you. I just barely grazed by you. And we're like, no, you literally dented the bumper. Like, the bumper popped out when you came out of it. And Trey I was like, hey, man, get your license and your insurance out right now. And he's like, oh, all right. I said, no, we're not leaving here. Do we get a picture of that and your license plate? So he gets it out. He's being fine. And I wasn't being mean to him. I'm just like, I know the drill. Like, this guy's going to pull off and nothing's going to happen. Sure. So anyway, I'm like, I'm smarter than that. So Trey gets over there, and the guy's like, man, I got $60. But you think I'll cover it? And I said, I don't know. I don't work at a body shop. Do you? And he goes, yeah, I do. I said, no, you don't. No, you I said it out loud. I said, no, you don't. He goes, yeah, man. I said, no, you don't. You don't work at a body shop, because you would know this $60 is not going to cover this. So anyway, I was like, I don't want your money. So anyway, Trey gets his information, and we just like, hey, man, just be cool. And like, don't hit people, like just. So anyway, luckily it didn't leave too big of a scrape, but it did have a scrape on it. So anyway, yeah, I hadn't shared that story with you. Yeah, I was waiting for the podcast to share that. So yeah, we got hit on the way out.
Was it Riddle? Was Riddle the person that you were talking to?
Some guy who may have been partaking with Riddle, though. Maybe Rene Dupree.
Rob Van Dam?
Rene Dupree. You know what's Sabu? Anyway, yeah, and then we drive straight back to Kingsport, and we get here.
God.
I think I got home at 5:30 that morning, so and then slept for about 2 hours and went to church. So, yeah, it was a blast. And then we saw the Buc-ee's on the way back home, too.
Of course you did.
Did not have hot brisket on the board. So
I don't get the Buc-ee's love, man. I got to say it. I don't get it.
You're not a mediator, though.
I'm not
so you
a
don't
mediator.
let the fresh brisket on the board doesn't do anything for you. None of the food appeals to you.
None of the Hobby Lobby knickknacks in there appealed to me either. But
I got me a Buc-ee shirt now. My wife got me one last weekend, so I'm excited.
To each their own. But man, I'm glad you guys were safe, and
And on the way home,
the bumper was dented.
We're on I-40 coming home, and there's a dude in the left lane in a giant jacked up truck, and Trey has got 75 on the cruise. Like, that's all we were on, and like we get next to the guy, and he'd go and go up like half a mile, and then we wouldn't hit the gas, and we just go, and as soon as we get next to him, for 2.5 hours,
Bro.
This guy did that. This guy did that in the middle of the night for 2.5 hours, just in the left lane. I mean, he had to have gotten 6 miles a gallon on the way home. He had like an F-250, probably with some diesel, so it's already $6 a gallon. And he's just gunning it when we get next to him. And I was like, Trey, are you touching the gas? Like, I'm on cruise, dude. Like, I'm not. Nothing is happening. I'm never speeding up or slowing down. And it's just, I was like, what is this guy's deal? So anyway. But yeah,
Bob Sparkplug Holly in the car next to you, man.
So I share all that with you guys to just let you know that we had a blast.
We had a great time.
And rumor has it they're going to come back next year, and if so, we're going to be there. So
let's do it. We'll do it again. We'll make it an annual tradition if they want to.
I will spend the night this time.
I've tried to get you to this time.
Well, we had to be at church next morning, but next time we're gonna take that Sunday off.
I think so. I think that's the right call. And we can go out. We can go back out to the Wild Horse Saloon.
Be all right.
Kid Rock's Bar and Grill.
We did get a picture there.
Luke Bryan's Bar and Grill, or Florida
Patty
Georgia Line's Bar and Grill, Garth Brooks Bar and Grill, Alan Jackson's Bar. Every country music star has a bar and grill.
Yeah. Boo.
Well, man, I'm so glad that you had the idea to go do that. I was You know, I've said on here before, I'm not really following the modern day stuff much anymore. And but man, I had a great time hanging out with you and the guys as well. I hadn't met those guys before, but I had a great time hanging out with them.
Yeah, you meshed well.
We had a blast. Yeah, and like I said, you can see the full video vlog of our trip. A lot of great content in there, a lot of funny stuff in there on our YouTube channel. So go check that out. Going back to something you said earlier, I got to say, I got to eat my words as far as Triple H goes, because someone asked us on last month's podcast in our Q&A session, how do we feel like Triple H is going to change things? And I was, I'll be the first to admit I was wrong, because I said, I really don't think things are going to change that much, especially at first. It may take like a year or two to really feel the difference with Triple H taking over for Vince McMahon. Yeah. And within, 4 weeks, Triple H has already brought half of his NXT roster onto Raw. The first Raw the SmackDown he's in charge of, he's got guys that have been fired, rehired, and put into the main event with Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano and
Karrion
Kross and Dakota Kai. Look, man, he's made his stamp and he's made his mark, and it's definitely made things more exciting. So I will eat my hat, I will eat my words, and say I was definitely wrong on that call. I'm not afraid to admit that. But I just thought that was hilarious. No, I will not eat that. Homer's wearing that right now. So he's rocking that. Man, SummerSlam weekend was a blast. If you were there as well, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it, especially if you were at the One Dead Man show. And if you're going to be at one of the One Dead Man shows in Cardiff, no doubt, matinee or the late night show, please, seriously, you have an open invite to come on Talking Taker in October. Give us the full scoop, the full rundown. If you want to send us notes from it, we want to hear about it, because we will not be making it quite overseas quite yet.
I think I'm going to miss that one.
I'd love to be there, but we're going to miss that one. So we'd love to hear about it. And in exchange, we're going to give you the full details on 2016's hottest animated feature, WWE and Scooby-Doo in the Curse of the Speed Demon.
Yes.
Oh my God. Travis, let's talk about this. Let's let this be our main event for tonight. Tell me, man, what are your Scooby-Doo memories? Were you a big Scooby-Doo fan as a kid? Like, what comes to mind when you think of Scooby-Doo?
I was a huge Scooby-Doo fan. Cartoon Network came out when we were in first grade. It debuted. I remember the day it came out. I had my mom set a tape for as much of it as I could. Like, because it was incredible. Cartoon Network. So all those old, like, Hanna-Barbera cartoons and everything was on there, and all this everything was on there, man.
Yeah.
And so Scooby's on there, but my favorite Scooby stuff was Pup Named Scooby-Doo. I loved Pup Named Scooby-Doo. I was going to name drop it earlier, but I didn't. Scooby and Scrappy, and I loved Pup Named Scooby-Doo. And I used to dance to dance. Velma did this little dance, and she'd just do this little thing, and it was just awesome, man. I dug it. I'll never miss an episode of Pup Named Scooby-Doo. And I would watch the, made-for-TV movies, because there's all the old episodes from, like, when our parents were kids, and then they started doing new ones once Cartoon Network became real popular. So, yeah, I'm always a big fan of Scooby, dude. Always a big fan of Scoob.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about it earlier. Like, it's really something that has lasted through generations. I mean, which is rare. Like, the Flintstones hasn't so much. The Jetsons certainly hasn't. They've tried some different things to reboot that, but Scooby-Doo's kind of just always been there, and they'll remake it and do different things with it. They just had a movie come out last year. There's supposed to be another one, but it got
HBO. They got HBO.
Yeah. I was not.
It got Batgirled.
I'd say I never disliked Scooby-Doo. It was never my favorite thing, but I never minded watching it. But I had a VHS of one of the old school Scooby-Doo, and Batman. And Batman is Adam West, and Robin is Burt Ward, and the Joker is the Joker from the '69 TV show. Man, I wore that VHS tape out because I loved the Adam West Batman too. So that one was for sure one of my favorite tapes to watch as a kid. But I was, Scooby-Doo was fine. I never hated it or anything. I never saw the movies from 2002, the live action movies, so I never got into those with Freddie Prinze Jr. And Matthew Lillard, who is the voice of Shaggy, still in this cartoon, which was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Not Freddie Prinze, even though he's a wrestling guy. Why could he not have been Fred?
On the creative team.
Yeah.
Here are some others 2016 animated films, okay? Mm-hmm. Calling in the ring here, guys. Sing.
Okay, yeah.
Secret Life of Pets.
Mm-hmm. Yep, seen both of those.
Sausage Party.
Didn't see that one.
No, thanks. Trolls.
Didn't see that one.
Zootopia.
That was a good movie.
Angry Birds.
Didn't see that one.
Storks.
Oh, right. No, didn't see that.
Small movie called Finding Dory.
Oh, did see that
one. Kung Fu Panda 3. And Zootopia. Those are just some of the top ones that came out that year. So in the midst of all those were the big ones I just named. I didn't name the small ones. But out of all those, then you've got WWE, the Speed Demon. Yeah.
Well, this is actually there are 5 of these WWE animated movies. There's the other Scooby-Doo one, like you mentioned, the WrestleMania Mystery, which is the first, and this one is technically a sequel. It is related, and we'll talk about that. There's a Flintstones and WWE movie. There's a Surf's Up Wave-A-Mania movie, which also features The Undertaker.
And Pearl Jam, I believe.
Pearl Jam?
No, Pearl Jam's in Surf's Up. Never mind. They have Big Wave is in that song from Avocado album is in Surf's Up. Yeah, not the animated.
Not the WWE
I apologize.
One? Right. Yeah. And there's
Sorry.
I actually
got excited.
I didn't even know. I'd heard of all these other ones, but did you know there's a Jetsons one?
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Jetsons one. Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen any of these other ones?
I wanted to see the Jetsons one, but I haven't.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch the other one. Whichever ones are on HBO Max, I have HBO Max. I share it with my brothers. I'm gonna watch them eventually. So.
Yeah. Well, the other WWE one is. The other Scooby-Doo one is for sure. Yeah. I don't know about any of the other ones, but I mean, if you had to write the copy for the back of the DVD of this film, Travis, I'm gonna call it a film.
Scooby-Doo Curse of Speed Demon.
Yes. What would be your 2 to 3 sentence synopsis for the back of the DVD? In case someone out there has not watched it yet.
Watch your favorite, in air quotes, WWE superstars team up with Shaggy, Scoob, and the rest of the Mystery Machine to take down or to crack the case of the Speed Demon, who was this devilish ghoul. Tune in for 80 minutes to find out.
Okay.
Grab your Scooby snacks and enjoy.
Okay.
That's what I got off the top of my head.
Fair enough. It's
favorite.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that. Some odd casting in here for sure.
Just.
It's...
Who's in catering? We gotta film this video real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure all it took was an hour before the show to record all their dialogue for it. Also, so it takes place. It stars all the WWE guys, but there's no wrestling at all.
No.
You don't see a wrestling ring once in this movie. You do see a few moves, but it doesn't take place in wrestling. This takes place in the WWE's Muscle Moto X Off-Road Challenge, which is sort of the WWE's answer to the Wacky Races.
Exactly.
Another one of my favorite Cartoon Network cartoons. I mean, maybe my favorite Cartoon Network cartoon.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, Penelope Pitstop, she was where it's at when we were kids.
Muttley and Dick Dastardly, absolutely.
Yeah. So good.
I mean, I would watch a cartoon series of WWE Wacky Races.
Yeah.
Give me that on Peacock.
At 36.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd watch it. For sure.
It's these cars, monster trucks, machines being driven by 2 WWE superstars on a racetrack, a 3-day racing event with 3 events throughout the weekend. And the Scooby-Doo crew is there as fans and vendors at this event as well.
Food truck.
Running a food truck. And they're going to be solving a mystery during it. Yes, a big sandwich. And yeah, that's sort of the plot, what you need to know there. Tell us who else is in the cast.
Well, you got Shaggy, Scoob, all those guys. But
Fred.
As far as WWE, huh?
Fred,
Velma, and Daphne. Yeah. And then you got Vince McMahon. You got Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Sheamus, Kofi Kingston, Paige, the lonely diva here, Miz, El Torito, and the Banditos. What are their names? The
Los
Lonely
Matadors.
Boys. Los Matadores. How far is
How
heaven?
far is heaven?
Anyway, Cody and Goldust as
Goldust and
Cody
Stardust.
as Stardust, Dusty Rhodes, and the Man of the Hour, The Undertaker.
That's right. So that's your
Michael
crew.
Cole, name
Michael
misspelled.
Cole as well.
Name is misspelled.
Misspelled in the credits.
Micheal. Here it is, right here for those of you watching.
Oh, poor Michael.
Yep. Misspelled.
Michael.
Micheal. Yeah. Whew.
So yeah, all these are the crews that are racing. We've got Stephanie and Triple H in the company car, is what their car is called.
Oh yeah,
the Authority. We got Los Matadors and
Rusev and
Torito.
Lana. Yeah.
Rusev and Lana. Yeah. They're in the Moscow Mule or the Moscow Mauler, I think it's
Moscow
actually
Express
called.
or something.
Yeah. Los Matadors and Torito in the Pamplona Especial. And then a couple of more oddball teams here. You got Paige and Miz, who are together. I guess
They're in the Santa Claus
they're
movie
in a
together,
movie
weren't they?
together.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the reasoning there. They're in the Awesome Mobile or something. I don't remember what theirs is called. And then the
Too awesome.
Too Awesome. That's what it was called, right? And then in the Celtic Cruiser, you've got the classic team of Sheamus, Goldust, and Stardust.
I mean,
For no reason.
you tell me one of these things is not like the other. I mean, Goldust and Stardust, and then you got Sheamus just in there. It doesn't make any sense.
Not a lick.
But I tell you what, man, Goldust and Stardust, Cody and Dustin are in. I mean, they're in full on
rare form. Yes.
character, rare form, hopped up on Mountain Dew. It's amazing. I love it.
It totally works for this.
Yeah.
You know. And then in the Legend Mobile, can you believe this? The Undertaker is co-piloting with Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes
Dusty Rhodes.
driving a monster truck with the Undertaker. It's a real thing.
And this is WWE Dusty Rhodes with the yellow polka dots.
Of course, yellow polka dots, Dusty Rhodes. So those are the teams that are competing in the challenge, and tell them about the catering crew.
Oh, this is Scooby, Shaggy. Well, what's they're big fans. Who are they fans of though? Their number one guy.
Fans of the Undertaker.
And they're guys they're people in the crowd with Undertaker signs and Team Taker signs and all kind of stuff. And they are running a golly, what's it called? It's not a Shaggin' Wagon. It's a sandwich mobile. But
Yeah.
It should have been called the Shaggin' Wagon, but that was from Dumb and Dumber, I think. So.
It's called the Scuba-nator later
Scuba-nator,
on.
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it has a name. But did you see the menu for the food truck, Travis?
Oh, I don't have it written down, but
Okay.
there was some good stuff on there.
I did pause it on there.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about the menu on the Scooby and Shaggy's food truck.
And full disclosure, I watched this with my 3 children. My wife was out of town, so I was also getting up, getting popcorn, wiping heinies when they needed to go poop, and this and that. I was getting drinks, serving drinks. I did watch the whole thing.
Yeah, of
but
course.
I wasn't able to stop, take notes, and all this stuff. So a little bit of this is going to be blurry for me. So yeah, I wasn't able to take notes. So I'm glad you took notes of the meat selection.
I did. So one item on the menu is taquitos, mustard, and waffles for $10. So a serving of taquitos, mustard, and waffles for $10.
I like all 3 of those things, but I don't want them together.
French fries with ham for $6.50.
Ugh.
4 foot-long hot dogs for $8.50.
That's a good price.
That's a steal.
That's a great deal.
Because a big fat burger is $10.
Oh my.
So 4 foot-long hot dogs for $8.50. Great deal.
Yeah.
And then the specialty item, Skinny Man's dead meat on a bun for $9. And that's what the Taker fans order there. That's the big specialty item. And Scooby and Shaggy let them know that Mr. McMahon hired them personally to do the catering for this big event. And this big event was Stephanie McMahon's idea. To have the WWE superstars compete in the Muscle Moto X. And Vince tells us that on commentary with Michael Cole. Of course, Michael Cole is the announcer for the Muscle Moto X event.
Yeah.
Again, there's no real explanation as to why this event is happening or why wrestlers are involved.
It's just happening.
It's just happening. It's just a thing.
Yeah. just happening. And storyline wise, Stephanie wants to be in the race. Vince doesn't want her to be in the race because she's his daughter.
He doesn't even know until their car drives up that they're in the race.
Exactly. And he does not approve of that. Doesn't want her to be in it because she's daddy's little girl. So, and that's kind of how if there's a storyline, that's where it begins, basically.
Yeah. And he feels like they should keep business separate. They shouldn't be competing out there with the superstars as well. Yeah. But no, Stephanie and Triple H are competing. They want to win the race just like anybody else. Like you said, Scooby and Shaggy are Undertaker fans. They are there to see him. They put on Undertaker gear to go out in the crowd to watch the race as they eat some DC pretzels. Remember the DC pretzels. They're going to come into play later.
They are going to come into play later.
The DC stands for...
I don't know.
Dead Man's Curve.
Dead Man's Curve. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're named after the most dangerous part of the course.
Yeah, the most dangerous part of the course is Dead Man's Curve. Of course, there is something happened at Dead Man's Curve at one point, right?
That's right, yes. We'll get to that here in a little while.
Yeah.
And then we're joined by our on-the-field reporter, who is, for some reason...
Kofi Kingston.
Not a driver. No, he's the reporter.
This is like, they're in New Day at this point. They just didn't, they just only had Kofi there, though. He's in, like, New Day get-up, like the light blue.
Oh, man, it would have been great if it was the New Day. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, all three of them. It would have been great. So, but... they could only afford one, I guess. So, I don't know.
So this is a qualifying round that we're watching right now. They're trying to see who's going to get the pole position for the first day of racing. So there's 4 days of driving, and we're going to see all of it here in this movie. And we get some quippy comments from all the drivers. They're all, and I will say, whoever wrote this script, I mean, they had some wrestling fans on there because there was everybody got their catchphrases in. Everybody got some actually funny references and lines in. I mean, I legitimately laughed throughout this movie.
Me too.
Like Dusty is driving there at the beginning and says, we're gonna take it to the pay window. Take it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're getting in all their old school stuff.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I enjoyed all that stuff. There definitely were some fans that were helping write this. So.
Yeah. So in the middle of the qualifying round, there's a big explosion on the course, and a new car has entered the field. And the cameras, they have these drone cameras that are following the race all around. And the driver is not a WWE superstar. It is a speed demon, and it's trying to ram the legend mobile of Undertaker and Dusty off the road. And Taker tells the stranger that they have dug their own grave.
Yeah, this is the big bad guy who, if you ever watch Scooby-Doo, it's usually somebody in some kind of a costume. That's kind of the whole deal with Scooby-Doo. Until they started getting weird later on. Those made this directed cassette videos would be actual aliens and actual. That was weird, man. But that was part of the appeal of Scooby-Doo. Was you think it was a swamp monster, but it's always the groundskeeper that wanted the money from the house. So I always appreciated trying to figure out who that was, as I'm watching as a kid. And my favorite part about Pup Named Scooby-Doo, just as a little aside, is there was a character named Red Herring, and he was always the red herring of the episode. But he was literally, his name was Red Herring, and I love that.
Oh, I remember that. That's
the
great.
The meta-ness of that back in the day was so good. So anyway,
well, yeah,
continue.
That's what we're all doing watching this. We're trying to figure out who is going to be under the mask. And the Speed Demon's car, it unleashes a scorpion tail from the back of it, and it uses the scorpion tail to flip the Legend Mobile over. But thankfully, Dusty and Taker are able to escape the wreckage. And this demon hops out. He's got, kind of looks like Ghost Rider, I guess. Yeah. And he says that the curse of the Inferno is upon you. End this race or suffer. And Dusty tells him, we're going to get funky like a monkey. And starts fighting like a monkey. Michael Cole calls it vintage Dusty Rhodes. And but the demon takes down Dusty before Undertaker can get out and help him. And the demon gets away. Dusty is injured. And then we cut to later in the night, and Dusty's getting his ribs taped outside an ambulance, man. Poor Dusty. Yeah,
he's going to have that DDP rib tape for 9 months.
Yeah.
So...
Taker says that the doctor has told Dusty he doesn't need to race. He needs to take it easy for a little while. And
take her easy.
he needs to take her easy, exactly. And Dusty's depressed, man. Poor Dusty Rhodes. He wanted to live out his dream by winning this race and building his grandkids a ranch so they can learn the 3 R's: writing, roping, and ranching. Not wrestling, for some reason.
Yeah, get that wrestling. Didn't say it.
No idea why. But Goldust and Stardust are there to vow to carry Dusty across the finish line and help him win the race, even if he can't get there himself. So Kofi asks Taker if that means he's leaving the race, and Taker says he's not going to back down. He's going to deliver that demon back from whence he came, and he will rest in peace. And of course, the mystery gang decides they need to investigate this. So Shaggy and Scooby want to run away, but the gang remind them that they have to run the food truck anyway, so they have to stay there. And Mr. McMahon personally asks the mystery gang to help them figure out the speed demon. They go and explore the track after dark, and then we get the legend of the speed demon.
Yeah, and it's just so funny because there's actually a plot to this movie. I didn't know there was going to be so much plot.
There's a lot of plot.
But there really is, so it's funny. So yeah, the legend of the speed demon. Why don't you fill us in on what actually happened with the speed demon?
Well, Velma pulls up an article on her tablet about some races that have happened on this mountain in the past.
Racists?
Races.
Oh,
races. It's not that kind of Scooby episode.
Racist on this mountain.
I mean... moving
on.
One race, there was a ruthless marauder. And now that I'm thinking about this, none of this was relevant.
No, it's just filling time.
This is a red herring.
Yeah.
There was a legend about a marauder who used to compete on this race, but he went too fast around the Dead Man's Curve, didn't see that the road had washed out. He crashed into the darkness, and there was a curse on this race to this day. And so you're thinking, okay, maybe there is going to be something supernatural going on with all this. Spoiler alert, there's not. There's no point in any of this. And then we get another suspect enters the scene, the producer of the Muscle Moto X. I wrote down Walter Qualls. I don't know what his exact name was, but he's played by dude that was on Mad TV, the Phil Lamar, I think he was. He does a lot of comedic acting and voice acting and stuff. But he's excited about the speed demon. He thinks the speed demon is going to bring big ratings to the race. Yeah. So he actually asked the kids not to try too hard to solve the race. So I don't know. This guy seems kind of suspicious.
Exactly. Sketchy.
Then the next scene takes us down to the hangar where all the superstars are working on their own cars. So not only are they the drivers, they're their own pit crew as well. Who knew that the Miz knew how to build a monster truck? But apparently he does.
Miz doesn't know what a wrench is, probably. So.
Well, Mystery Inc. is going to go question everybody, and they break off into pairs and go ask questions. Goldust sniffs out Scooby, and he's acting all weird around them, and they Scooby and Shaggy run away, and Goldust says, "A talking dog? Bizarre!"
Bizarre! My favorite part.
And then Shaggy gets off a line that I swear Jerry the King Lawler wrote on this script. Yeah? It says, about Goldust and Stardust, "Those two are like a bad toaster. They pop up when you least expect it." If that's not Jerry the King Lawler line, I've never heard of it.
Oh, I know. Jerry Lawler wrote that line, probably. Is this where Taker introduces us to Big Earl?
No, that's a little bit later on.
Oh, okay.
This is where Taker's going to introduce himself to Shaggy and Scooby. And he actually recognizes them from the first movie, where I guess they wrestled in that movie. Mm-hmm. And what were their gimmick names, Travis?
Skinny Man and Dead Meat.
Skinny Man and Dead Meat. Taker recognizes, "Oh, you're Skinny Man and Dead Meat. All right." And he shows... He shows them a tremendous sign of respect because he says, "You guys can call me Taker."
Yes,
he told Shaggy and Scooby they can call him Taker.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. That
Huge
is a big deal.
And Shaggy and Scooby acted like we did when we met Undertaker. Basically, there's Shaggy's like scared, excited,
like
same time, brain confused. Like that's pretty much how we acted when we met Undertaker.
Exactly.
So you get stuff with all the different wrestlers interacting, and Fred and Daphne go interview Triple H and Stephanie. And Stephanie and Daphne kind of start to develop a bond.
Yeah.
They see like their lives are kind of similar. They both have rich fathers. And here we get more talk between Vince and Stephanie about how Vince doesn't like that Stephanie's racing. He thinks she's too busy. She can't run the business while she's messing with all this. And then the producer comes in and tells everybody the catering is ready. So we go to the catering hall where the prize money is just sitting in a big box in the middle of the catering hall.
Why not?
Seems safe.
I bet the wrestlers that were in catering recording this wish that was the case.
Right. And there is $1 million prize for the winner of this race. Shaggy tells Scooby, "Oh, with $1 million, we could buy an extra large pepperoni pizza every day for the rest of our lives."
It's not wrong.
Not wrong about that. And Dusty and Taker are having dinner with Mr. McMahon and the producer of the race. And Dusty, man, he gets real upset. He starts to lose his cool when they start talking about the demon. Says, "That was more than a demon that attacked me, baby. That was a curse. You can wrestle one, but the other is the devil's work." That was a terrible Dusty Rhodes impression. I don't know what I was doing there. But Dusty accuses the producer.
I closed my eyes and thought it was
this.
Dusty.
Well, he accuses the producer of rigging this demon for ratings. And Taker says, he's just taking it personally because he wanted the money for his family. And Taker decides to quit alongside with Dusty. But Stephanie actually has a solution since Taker can't race with Dusty anymore.
She decides that he should shag up with Shaggy and Scoob and in their toaster mobile, the sandwich wagon, the Scoobinator. What's it called?
Yeah, the Scoobinator. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Scoobinator. But it's not like a scuba car. But it will be later.
It will be at some point.
Yeah. So he's going to tag team, trios tag team, in AEW, if you will, and it's going to be Shaggy, Scoob, and The Undertaker.
That's right, driving in a giant sandwich.
It's like a Lewis Carroll novel at this point.
Well, Taker tells Scooby and Shaggy are of course scared, and Taker says to rest easy, that if the demon appears again, he'll make sure it's his last ride. And Shaggy gets in another Jerry Lawler line and says, "That's like one nightmare canceling another nightmare. A dream come true." And then we get introduced to another suspect, like you said, Travis, Big Earl.
Oh yeah,
Who's Big Earl?
He's the mechanic. If I'm not mistaken.
The mechanic.
He looks like Honky Tonk Man.
See, I said he looked like the guy who's in all the Adam Sandler movies. He's like the dad in 50 First Dates. Or what else is he? Who else is he in?
I hate that movie. I don't know.
He's a water boy. He's in Little Nicky.
Probably one of those guys in all of them.
Yeah. Honky Tonk Man, sure, we'll go with that. But he's sitting outside the catering hall, and he's looking over what I believe were his kids' school receipts, and he's freaking out about how much money it is for them. So we see that he has some money issues or something going on, and Taker goes out to talk to him, and he pulls the curtain off the Legend Mobile and shows him the damage of it. And Taker says, "Lo, the Legend Mobile sheds its mortal coil. Rust in peace."
Yes, so good. My oldest, goes, "Rust in peace." He was laughing.
Peace. Fred and Big Earl spend all night trying to rebuild the Legend Mobile. And
Fred, car guy with an ascot around his neck. I mean, come on.
He's been studying cars. He's been studying cars. And we finally get to day one of the race the next day. And this is for a 30-second head start onto day two. That's the prize of winning day one. 30-second head start.
Hey, been down since day one-ish.
And Fred is trying to tell Taker and Scooby if they want more speed in their new car, then to be sure to press the...
Hey. What was that?
Yep. And then he drives away.
Okay.
Spent all night working on the car. Fell asleep before he could tell him what to do.
There you go.
And so the race starts, and how is Kofi reporting on this race, Travis?
I believe he is riding on, not a tractor, but on a drone?
Yes.
Like a flying drone.
Surfing on the drone to do his
drone
field report.
surfing. Yeah. Just
okay, then. Yep.
something I could see Kofi doing. Like, you know what? He didn't want to touch the ground. Maybe in next year's Royal Rumble, that's what he'll do. He'll land on a drone, flying back in.
Throwback to the movie.
Yeah.
And we also get introduced not only to that, which is going to happen a lot throughout the movie, but we also find out about the magnetic boots at the beginning of this race.
Oh, I don't remember the magnetic boots.
Oh, that's how the drivers are able to repair their cars during the race.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
They all have magnetic boots that they're able to put on. So one driver is able to drive, and the other person is able to hop out on the car and stay on the car with their magnetic boots and repair the car that might have been damaged during the race.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Michael Cole says, "Magnetic boots! This race just keeps getting better and better."
The greatest night in the history of our sport.
Whoever wrote Michael Cole's lines did not do anything.
Probably Michael Cole.
No, it's actually pretty funny.
There's an actual quote in this part when the I think it's Michael Cole says, "Only the Undertaker could fly a sandwich out of the jaws of oblivion."
I wrote that down too.
Okay, sorry.
Only the Undertaker.
Yeah.
No one else could possibly do that. So yeah, all the racers are out there. They're all just competing normally when all of a sudden we see Sheamus. You know, he doesn't get along with the Dust Brothers, and they keep just disappearing out of his car for no reason whatsoever. They unleash a little stardust and then they
Magic
disappear.
dust, yeah.
We never really find out where they went or why they disappeared or anything like that.
I guess they're supposed to be suspects at this point too, because they disappear and stuff. So yeah.
And then the Authority is continuing to dominate. The Scoobinator is pulling up the rear when all of a sudden the Demon Rig appears again out of nowhere.
Not Finn Balor.
No,
not Kane.
Well, what is this character's name, Travis?
Satan.
Could be.
I mean, could it be Satan?
Well, I was confused because sometimes they call him Demon.
Yeah.
Sometimes they call him Inferno.
Inferno, yeah.
And they use them like interchangeably.
Yeah. It's like a Dude Love Cactus Jack Mankind Mick Foley thing.
Okay.
He's got multiple gimmicks, if you will. This is a '98 Rumble, basically.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't know that. But
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, this is also a little unfair that he's like competing in the races, but he also like enters in halfway in.
He pops in
races too. He's able to do that.
He's got like a magic potion makes him pop up halfway, but he still competes. So I don't know. Don't think too hard about it, guys.
Oh, I thought way too hard about a lot of things in here. Well, the Inferno / the Demon says this race is doomed, and he pulls out in front of everybody, sets fire to this bridge that everybody's going to race across, but doesn't faze the drivers. They drive across it anyway.
Yeah.
And at this point where Scooby gets scared and crouches down because he doesn't want to see anything, and his nose hits the big red button on the Scoobinator, which is what Fred was trying to tell them, unleashes the blasters. So that helps them get across the bridge that's falling apart. And that's where the Undertaker flew a sandwich out of the jaws of oblivion. That moment right there.
Yeah. And it's just classic.
Classic.
Just classic Undertaker. Classic sandwich truck jumping. Yeah. Vintage sandwich truck jumping.
And that is enough to boost them into second place for today. But the company car is going to finish first with Triple H and Stephanie, and Los Matadors coming in third place. And Goldust and Stardust, at this point, they reappear in the car with Sheamus, and Sheamus asks them where they went to, and Goldust says, "It's not where we went, but where we came from that matters." And he hands Sheamus a yellow rose. And this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, where Sheamus just looks at the rose and eats it.
Just eats it.
And then we cut to another scene. There's no joke, there's no punchline.
Just eats the rose.
Sheamus eating flowers like he's Homer Simpson. Okay, then.
It's gone off the rails.
So where does everybody go after the race? They go to catering, of course. They got to go get something to eat. And Cole is talking to Stephanie and Triple H, who say no demon is going to interfere with their race. Lana and Rusev are arguing because they got 5th place, and Rusev says he's not going to take Lana to the outlet mall this weekend because he's so mad at her. And Taker says the bell is going to toll for the Demon, not for Team Taker. Before he can finish his promo, he gets distracted by a plate coming by filled with Mr. McMahon's meatballs.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm sure that was added by Vince.
Taker is salivating over Mr. McMahon's meatballs.
Yeah.
The Undertaker.
Yep. Hey.
Wants the scarf down.
Man's got to eat.
McMahon's meatballs. Yep.
McMahon's meatballs.
Oh, boy.
What if they sold that at WWF New York?
Well, they don't have it in WWF anymore, and his meatballs got him in trouble. So, a bit of a problem. Miz and Paige are arguing over about being in 4th place, and
hey, if you ain't first, you're last.
That's how they feel. And Paige ends up giving Miz a monkey flip into the burritos, and that starts a giant food fight.
Which is typical WWE.
Oh, we gotta have some action in here, you know. Triple H rips off his suit, and he's got his gear on underneath it.
Superman.
Mr. McMahon stumbles in, saying, "What in the name of Gorgeous George is going on in here?"
That's one of my favorite parts.
I love that line.
What in the name of
I'm telling you, man. Whoever's on the writing staff for this, 5 stars. 5 stars. And at this point, Mr. McMahon decides to rejigger the partners, and he's going to put Paige and Lana on a team together, and put Miz and Rusev on a team together. Yeah, because they can't get along with their other partners, so he's going to split them up and put them elsewhere.
Yeah, well, that sounds good.
That sounds like a plan. Dusty Rhodes appears out of nowhere. He's got a cane now, and he's like kind of mysteriously crouching in the shadows. Not Kane. Kane does not appear.
Yeah.
But he's with Goldust and Stardust. He warns us that the curse of the demon is just beginning here. And Velma and Daphne, they're going to talk about the mystery some more. They got to talk about some clues that they've got. But Daphne says she actually has some employment opportunities she's going to talk with Stephanie about in the WWE. Hopefully it doesn't involve Mr. McMahon's meatballs. But
hope not.
And then we see Undertaker. He can't afford his own room, so he's splitting it with Fred and Shaggy and Scooby. A 3-bedroom hotel room, which I've never seen before.
Sweet. That's sweet.
I guess it is.
Taker spared no expense, dude. He got the suite for all the guys.
Do you remember what Shaggy and Scooby are doing in their sleep?
No.
Snacking.
Oh, that makes sense.
Sleep eating.
That makes sense.
They've run out of sleep snacks, so they go to the Scoobinator, and they start to make up their specialty meal, which is enchiladas with tuna fish, yogurt, chocolate sauce, and fried onions. And, of course, they both eat them in one bite.
Wow. That sounds disgusting.
Delightful.
That's disgusting.
And they hear a noise at the window. And who could it be but the
Who
Inferno?
could it be now? Dean Malenko.
The Inferno. Yeah, he says he's out messing with the cars, and they go after him. He goes after them. And who is there to save the day but The Miz? He's out there doing some jogging late at night, listening to his headphones, jogging along, saying, "Who's awesome? I'm awesome. Who's awesome? I'm awesome."
I could see him doing that on TV,
Awesome.
on Raw. Yeah.
I think he said the word "awesome" in this movie approximately 7,000 times.
Oh, probably. Yeah, it was a lot.
And he gets a big hero moment here, and he is hitting moves that Mike the Miz Mizanin has never hit in his entire life. Backflips, 450 splashes, all this stuff, and ends up putting the Inferno in the figure 4.
Woo!
But the Inferno hulks up, pushes Miz off, and Miz is like, "I can't believe he broke out of my figure 4." And I'm like, have you ever seen one of your own matches, pal? Have you ever won a match in the figure 4?
I don't think so.
Paige says Inferno might have stolen all his awesome, which is a tragedy.
It is a tragedy.
We find out that Big Earl was working on the company car. He sees that the oil line was cut on it, but there was no damage on any of the other cars. So Taker congratulates Scooby and Shaggy on stopping the demon. Vince asks Stephanie once again to reconsider racing tomorrow because the Inferno is going to attack again. So we cut to the next day's race. The Authority's going to get a 30-second head start. And as the race begins, Velma Velma, of course, always watching things. She notices that Mr. McMahon leaves the race before the race begins, so he's not even going to sit there and watch the race.
Yeah,
what could
exactly.
that be all about?
So going to eat some flowers, make some more meatballs. So yeah. It makes him a suspect at this point, from what's about to happen. So.
Yeah, so we've got sort of him, we've got Big Earl as a suspect, we've got the producer as a suspect, maybe Dusty.
Potentially Dusty and the Rhodes brothers, yeah.
That's right. And this leg of the race, how is this leg of the race different, Travis?
Is this the water race?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is what Scuba-nator is going to be, a Scuba-nator, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a race in the water.
Or as
it's
Michael...
like when you're at Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong Racing and you could pick like the airplane, the hovercraft, or the car for the levels. So, yeah.
As Michael Cole says, like steel leviathans thirsty for victory. They all become water vehicles. And the demon car, of course, comes out. And he tosses the Celtic Cruiser like a flaccid flapjack out of the water. And it keeps knocking over other racers. It approaches the company car here. And this is where Triple H is going to get out and try to protect the company car. He's going to put on those magnetic boots, bust out of his suit into his underwear, and wrestle the demon on top of that boat. As Michael Cole, again, I'm putting over Michael Cole, he says, "Great gobbledygooker."
Yes, I love that part. Great gobbledygooker. Oh, those are the best parts of the whole movie.
Yeah, just a little
throwback lines.
Stuff that, kids aren't going to get, but you and I are going to get.
Yeah.
Team Taker comes out of nowhere to help save the day, help save Triple H and Stephanie. And the racers come to sort of this fork in the water, and the Demon and Team Taker go off course one way, while the racers go down the track. And the sandwich truck, the Scuba-nator, stalls out at the edge of a waterfall and begins to take off water. The Demon actually knocks the power out of Kofi's drone, who's trying to report all of this. He's trying to help out and sends his drone hoverboard crashing into the land. And Kofi picks up the drone and looks at it. And while, Undertaker, Scooby, and Shaggy are fighting for their lives and possibly dying and about to go over a waterfall, Kofi picks up the drone and says, "Oh, good, the camera still works."
Yeah.
Only concerned with the equipment, not concerned with his friends who are about to lose their lives here.
About to die. But they do not lose their lives because the Undertaker comes to the rescue.
And what does he use to help rescue?
He makes a lasso out of sausage links and lassos it to one of the rocks at the top of the waterfall, and they pull themselves back up. It reminded me of Keno and Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, when he uses the sausage links as nunchucks. Same
idea here.
Yeah, just a sausage link lasso that the Undertaker uses to pull himself to safety with Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. 203 episodes ago, you told me I said that sentence, I would call you a liar.
Salvation by sausage meat, as Kofi says.
Kofi threw that line in. Salvation by sausage meat. Yes, folks, the
Undertaker uses a sausage lasso to save himself and Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. Oh, my God. So that ends day 2 of the race. And Mr. McMahon's going to hold a press conference afterward in this log cabin that they're all staying in now. Not in a hotel anymore. Now we're in a log cabin.
Hey, upgrade.
Saying the race has gone too far to stop. So it's going to take place tomorrow, even though all of their lives are on the line for this $1 million prize. And Undertaker is depressed. He's sitting in the corner of this cabin saying, "I can't finish the race without a car." Scooby says, "Sorry, Undertaker."
Exactly.
And Undertaker, he explains why he wanted to win this race so badly.
Yeah, he was going to use the prize money. He was going to race for all of his little creatures of the night, little Undertaker fans all across the world. I was going to use my share of the prize money to create the Undertaker's Comedy Theater and Puppet Jubilee.
Can you repeat that, Travis?
He was going to use his money to create the Undertaker's Comedy Theater and Puppet Jubilee. And that right there is my favorite thing that's happened in this whole movie so far. And it's only going to get better in a few minutes. But that right there, I was like, all right, I'm in for the rest of the ride. Because all the other things, I was like, yeah, okay. But that, I was like, all right, now we're on to something.
Taker says, I like puppets.
Yeah.
That's his explanation.
I like puppets.
You're just completely gone off the rails. Nothing matters. Nothing makes sense anymore.
No. That's my favorite thing so far.
I think that's what the One Dead Man show should be. It should be him bringing out his puppets.
A puppet show.
His puppet show.
Can you imagine if you went to see Taker and there's the puppets?
I can. Now I am imagining it.
What if we were just like that on the video?
Maybe next month.
It's an idea.
Well, the Authority's supposed to get another 30-second head start for the final round of the race, but the other drivers are not happy about it. They think the fix is in because they've won the first 2 legs. And Stephanie
Sheamus says it sounds like an angle.
He does. Yeah. I can't believe that got through.
Yeah, it seems like an angle to me.
But Stephanie says, all right, screw it. We'll beat you guys anyway. We don't need the head start. And Fred actually questions Mr. McMahon about where he goes during the races. And Mr. McMahon seems all suspicious, saying, look, I run the entire WWE. I have other places to be. And I know this looks suspicious, but I'm going to leave because I have other things to do here.
That's what Vince would have said anyway.
That's exactly what he would have said. Fast forward, we got Shaggy, Scooby, and Doriot practicing their bullfighting skills, and all of a sudden the Undertaker and the rest of the Mystery Gang show up in the Mystery Machine because the Scooby-Nator has been trashed, the Legend Mobile has been trashed, so now they're going to drive a souped-up Mystery Machine to compete in tomorrow's race. And
third time's charm.
Undertaker's going to drive with the entire Mystery Inc. crew in the car this time.
Dead Man Inc. and Mystery Inc.
That's right. They've come together here. They've learned now that the Demon Mobile is actually driven by remote control and with some high-frequency remotes. So Fred believes he's hacked into that and believes they can take control of that tomorrow during the race.
What's the frequency, can it?
Ooh, Fred. Not kidding.
What's the frequency, Fred? Sorry.
There you go. Goldust and Stardust are trying to hype up Sheamus by playing an Irish jig on a violin and a bagpipe for him while he drives. I just need a sitcom with Sheamus, Goldust, and Stardust.
Man. I want a table for 3 or a ride along with them in character.
100%.
Yeah.
And Fred takes over the Demon Mobile. The Demon, of course, appears. The Inferno appears, and he gets close to the Mystery Machine. Fred tries to take it over, but he drops the remote control from a bump in the road, and the Mystery Machine smashes into the mountain, and they lose their parachutes when they hit the mountain, which is going to be important later on. So instead, Lana, we go over to the Moscow Mauler, and she is going to use a smoke bomb and turn her back on Paige, saying she is only loyal to Mother Russia. And she jumps out using her magnetic boots, and her and Rusev actually going to hop onto the Demon car and try to take it over, but the Demon's going to beat them up. And Rusev tosses Miz into Paige's car. They reteam with her. And this part infuriated me, Travis, because Paige and Miz decide, at this point, on day 3 of the race, when they've all been being attacked, Paige and Miz say, let's text the other drivers and go after the Demon together. You're just now figuring out that this might be a good plan? Halfway into the 3rd day of the race?
And don't text while driving.
Also,
come on. Safety first. Come on.
All the wrestlers then hit their catchphrases, spout them off. They're teaming up together to ram the Demon off the road.
Is this where Sheamus pulls a Drew McIntyre?
Gimmick infringement.
Yeah. Well, Drew's a gimmick infringer, apparently.
I guess so. You're right.
Yeah, Sheamus pulls a sword out. Not a shillelagh, a sword, and goes after the Inferno. So.
The Celtic sword, as he calls it. Yeah, he cuts off the scorpion tail of the Inferno. But the Demon knocks him off. He drives off. Team Taker's going to pass all the other cars and get in range of the Demon, and Fred gets his remote back. Starts to take over, but the Demon rams them. The remote goes out the window. And Taker tells Scooby and Shaggy it's time to take over driving because he's going to go after the Demon. Shaggy says they've never driven before, so that could be interesting here. Taker hops onto the Demon Mobile, says the day of reckoning is here. He's going to have no mercy on his soul. and Shaggy and Scooby drive, and Fred tells them it's okay. You can do this. You know this course like the back of your stomachs because you've eaten so many Dead Man's Curve pretzels, and that's what the course is. It's the Dead Man's Curve pretzel. So they're confident. They're able to drive, and
he said Day of Reckoning and No Mercy. That's 2 WWE video games.
WWE
how about
properties right there.
Yeah.
We're throwing all that in.
But yeah, so Dead Man's Curve pretzel comes back in as a plot point to help them, and as we close down Act 3 here. Of the movie.
The heavens are trembling above. Undertaker and the Demon are battling it out on top of the car.
Yeah.
The cars go off the Dead Man's Curve, and the parachutes go off. Except, of course, the Mystery Machine doesn't have a parachute, but it's okay because they have grappling hooks that shoot out of their car and hook them on to the Demon's car, so they float under it during its parachute, and it's actually able to fall faster and take the lead from this car. And the Inferno jumps down. They're racing, they're wrestling, they're battling, and the Mystery Machine is able to manage to take first place in the midst of all this battling. So it's actually technically only Shaggy and Scooby who win, because the Undertaker has jumped inside of the Demon rig, and he drives it into second place at this point.
Exactly.
I believe Los Matadors finished third, from what I could tell. I think Team Awesome came after them. We didn't get to see the full results of the race, so
I think so.
Check ESPN for the results of that later.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
That's right. And then we get the big climax here with the Undertaker hops out. We hear the gong. Throat slash, eyes rolled back, and him and Demon are going to have their one-on-one battle here.
Oh, yeah, they're going to go at it, and it's actually wrestling-ish, and then he's going to wind up giving him a tombstone pile driver.
And a last ride.
A last ride.
Correctly called by Shaggy. He is a fan. He calls it the last ride.
Yeah, gives him a tombstone and even does the pin, like the cover.
Yes.
And everything. Of course, there's no referee or anything, but
he gives him a jumping tombstone on the cement racetrack.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Jumping, like Shawn Michaels style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But he does that to the Inferno guy, and then
tells him this one's for Dusty. It's his revenge for him. And they're going to take off the hood and reveal who it's going to be. Had you figured it out?
It's Vince. It's me all along. No, I thought it was Vince, but I thought it was
Vince too.
But I thought it was Vince. I thought they were trying to make it not make it too obvious, so I wouldn't think it was. So I thought it was Vince the whole time.
Yeah. I thought it was Vince trying to.
Because this explanation didn't make any sense to me.
Oh, let's talk about it. So who's under the hood for real?
Paul Levesque, Mr. Triple H.
Triple H under the hood. He is Demon. He is Inferno. Velma tries to explain all of the clues that we were given all along.
Yeah, talcum powder also came into play.
Yeah, I missed a few things trying to get through everything here.
Oh, it's fine.
They suspected it was a WWE superstar because they broke out of Mrs. Figure 4. I feel like anyone could break out of Mrs. Figure 4.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it has to be a WWE superstar.
My 6-year-old can.
And Daphne actually says that Triple H didn't act alone. He may have been under the mask at this point, but also Stephanie was under it at times. And Stephanie was in on this plan. Apparently, sometimes when we were racing, we didn't actually see Triple H in the car.
Right.
We saw a Triple H inflatable airbag dummy that was driving in the car while Triple H was in the Demon costume.
A wobble
rumbler.
Yeah, if you will.
But sometimes also there was a Stephanie wobble rumbler too. And that's why, we saw some talcum powder that was supposed to be airbag powder, but it was actually filling up the inflatable dummy at some points. Sometimes Stephanie was driving with remote control gear, but also sometimes Triple H was driving with remote control gear. And sometimes Triple H drove the company car, and sometimes Stephanie drove the company car, and sometimes Stephanie was the Demon. And one time, Stephanie was the Demon, and Triple H got out of the car and wrestled the Demon. And Triple H told her to kayfabe, bro, and make it look real. It took a beating from her.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All that was just too much. I was like, that's why I needed to be Vince or the producer guy. Just something easy. And I was like, it was too many things that we didn't even see. So, but again,
booked themselves into a corner.
Scooby-Doo movie. It's okay. But I was a little disappointed in all that exposition and explanation.
So why did they sabotage their own car and cut the oil line at one point? Apparently they didn't mean to do that. They were replacing the airbag dummies in the car when Scooby and Shaggy saw them. So Triple H, as the demon, cut the oil line to cover their tracks.
To do something, yeah.
And of course, they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids and their speedster dog.
Exactly.
And Scooby says, don't forget Taker. And we get Undertaker uttering the immortal line, "Thank you, Scooby-Doo."
Classic.
Kind of like when he did his cameo for All Elite Scooby-Doo. It's his
Yeah.
second interaction with Scooby-Doo.
Exactly.
But that leaves another glaring mystery, Travis. Where did Vince go all along during these races? That doesn't explain that, does it?
No. He was going... wait a minute. See if I can look at this screenshot. He was practicing. That's right. Practicing for something very special. He planned to sing the national anthem at the closing ceremony at the end of the race. And so all that practice has to pay off. So we're going to get Mr. McMahon's rendition of the national anthem at the end.
My God.
And it was amazing. And it was actually Vince doing it. So. And
sadly, only like the last two lines. We didn't get the full national. I would pay money for the outtakes of this recording. I need to hear the full recording of that. And it's funny because we always hear that Vince hates the Star Spangled Banner. He likes God Bless America or America the Beautiful. That's right. But here he is singing the national anthem, and I lost it at that point, man.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
He's singing the national anthem at the closing ceremony, not the opening ceremony.
No. Close with that.
Taker is on the medal stand with Scooby and Shaggy, and Kofi asks him what he's going to do with the prize money, and he's going to go enchant his creatures of the night with the magical art of puppetry. And he's got one of his little puppets that he holds up there to showcase what it's going to be.
It's
the puppet of the Undertaker.
Could you imagine if we'd have had a Socko, a Cobra, and a Taker puppet? Dude, that's where it just got better to me. Him actually having a puppet he created. He was so into puppets that he's created his own mini puppet. I just was like, I was in heaven.
We've just completely gone off the rails.
It just can't get any better than this. So, yeah. It's amazing.
Shaggy and Scooby promised to give their money to Dusty Rhodes and his American dream of ranching and riding and reading.
Wrestling.
And Lana and Rusev give their flowers to the winners. And
Sheamus.
They're going to be good sports.
Oh.
And say...
Sheamus to eat.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
But we get a great line as it says, Rusev, hug.
Yeah. Like he's a caveman.
Undertaker says the bell tolls to honor all of the great victories of the WWE superstars. Victory is ours. And that's it, man. That is the curse of the Speed Demon, as told by Alex and Travis. Man, what is your Roger Ebert review of this movie?
So thumbs? I give 1 thumb up out of 2.
Okay.
So I say watch it. If you're a WWE fan, watch it. Why not? If you're a cartoon fan, watch it. If you got kids, watch it. So that's the thing. I watched it with my children. My kids, they know who Scooby-Doo is. They don't watch Scooby-Doo cartoons. They know wrestling because they know Daddy likes it, but they don't watch wrestling with me. No, Daddy like. And so we watched this together. Again, her wife's out of town. I was like, this is my opportunity to watch this movie because otherwise it's like a night we're together. Hang on, honey. I got to watch a 90-minute cartoon. You know what I'm saying?
Enjoyed that?
So, no. So I was like, this is a pro opportunity. So, but like they were laughing, they liked it, they enjoyed it, they liked the things, they knew some of the stuff. Like, oh, what's that finishing move called? The Tombstone. And I was like, yeah. So it was fun. That they enjoyed it. And they enjoyed figuring out who it was and everything. And they didn't get all the in jokes, but I enjoyed that part watching it with kids. It was fun, and it brought me back to my childhood with pup named Scooby-Doo and all that stuff. So it was nostalgic. I enjoyed it. Well, again, it's like it's B-list, C-list characters, so it's not like you're getting the top dog. So that's kind of weird, but it's fine.
I'm glad you watched it with them. I was interested to hear what the kids' perspective on it, and I think if you're a fan if you're a fan of The Undertaker or if you're a wrestling fan, this is a fun thing to just throw on in the background. Of course, it's not high art. It's Scooby-Doo. It's goofy. It's silly. So, you know, you just want to throw this on in the background and have something silly to watch, or, you know, or if you have kids and want to throw this on with them, it's a fun, goofy thing that you're going to get some laughs out of. There were some genuine laughs for wrestling fans in here. You know, it certainly wouldn't be really that interesting if you're not a wrestling fan, I wouldn't think. But, you know, for people like us, yeah, it's definitely fun, and you get to see The Undertaker being a puppeteer and some great Dusty Rhodes lines. This was actually released, like I said, posthumously, so he recorded this before he died, came out after he died, so it's kind of a little poignant there with his stuff in there. A couple of things that I read online. Apparently this was supposed to also feature none other than Hulk Hogan in this movie, and he recorded some dialogue for it, but was cut out because of, you know, some things he said that were not
said there were no racists.
Yeah, there were no racists in this movie. He was cut out, and I wonder if he was supposed to be the Dusty Rhodes part and they put Dusty Rhodes in there instead, or if he was supposed to do a different role. I don't know. Yeah,
who knows?
If you had to pick another classic cartoon, Travis, for the WWE to team up with, who would it be? We've had Flintstones, we've had Scooby-Doo, Jetsons, Surf's Up. What do you think the next collaboration should be?
I'd say Snorks.
WWE needs the Snorks.
What about you?
I can see it. We need more Snorks content.
What would you say?
I mean, like I said, I would love a legit Wacky Races style.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's the same thing as this.
Movie.
But
it's similar to this for sure. Maybe not Smurfs. I never really liked the Smurfs. Maybe
Hong Kong Phooey.
Ooh, wow! I don't know if you can do that anymore.
That'd be great. Jerry Lawler on the commentary.
I think we got canceled just for mentioning that. How about Rocky and Rocky and Bullwinkle? Oh, man. I always love me some Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Boris and Natasha?
Yeah.
Rusev and
with
Lana?
Rusev and Lana? Yeah. Let's do that.
My favorite part of Rocky and Bullwinkle was at the very end when they'd be like, stay tuned next week to see, and they would show you like three options of what was going to happen. I was like, yes. So, yeah, love Rocky and Bullwinkle. That's a great one.
Well,
no Robert De Niro, though.
Oh, no. Certainly not that.
By no means.
Well, let me close out. I'm going to steal a gimmick from one of my favorite podcasts called How Did This Get Made, which is a bad movie podcast, which is hilarious. I've listened to it for years. But they always share some 5-star reviews from Amazon from the bad movies that they watch on the show. So I pulled up some 5-star Amazon reviews, blatantly stealing that here for some second opinions here on this movie. So I'm going to read a few of these. Marcela Hernandez gave us 5 stars and said, "We are not into WWE, but still enjoyed it. It's a fun, odd addition to the collection. Jokes are maybe even funnier if you don't follow WWE. The costume pranks made us all laugh." 5 stars.
Okay.
So doesn't follow WWE, but thinks it may be funnier if they don't follow WWE.
There you go.
Myas said, "This time Mystery Inc. teams up with WWE. To my amazement, my grandson knew the names of each of the players. He watches this stuff. Or can I blame gaming? I don't know. He likes it, and that's enough for me."
Okay.
Should he blame gaming? I don't know.
I don't know what that means. So, all right.
Gerald W. Graham said, "Kids think any Scooby-Doo's a good Scooby-Doo. And this one was no different. 5 stars. Any Scooby-Doo's a good Scooby-Doo."
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you, Gerald.
Dan Core said, "Still looking for more of Scooby, and I will continue to search." 5 stars. Not enough here. Still looking for more? Continuing to search. And then this was my favorite. Marianne Bazuski.
That's just my favorite.
"At first, I didn't care for it, but after watching it a few more times, like the rest of the Scooby-Doo movies, it grows on you." 5 stars.
Few more times.
So Marianne watched this movie, didn't like it, but said, Maybe I'm missing something. Let me rewind it.
Maybe I'm just not getting it. Just something deeper there.
A few more times. Not a second time.
No.
At least 3 times.
At least
she watched
3
this.
times she's watched this movie.
After not liking it.
And then
5 stars.
there has not been a movie that I've ever done that with.
I don't know, man. Everybody loves it. I didn't care for it. I better just watch it again.
And then the second time, I was like, that's not enough.
I don't know. I like it a little better.
Give it a little. Let's try. You know what? 5 stars. I've missed it the whole time.
Didn't like it the first time.
Oh boy, what better way to end than that?
There it is, man. Well, folks, that is our episode for the month of September. We hope you got enough out of that one. I had a blast doing it with you, man. I'm glad we covered that silliness.
Who knew Taker was master of puppets, man?
Now we know.
Now we know. He's a big Metallica fan, so he's master of puppets there.
Well, please give us your 5-star reviews. Let us know what you thought of this. Please definitely check it out. It's a short, fun, easy, silly watch. Tell us what you thought about it. Leave a comment here. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and on YouTube as well, wherever you listen to your podcast. Pick up a shirt to support us over at tpublic.com. Be sure to follow all our friends out there, Collecting Dead Man podcast, the Bottom Line Wrestling podcast. Both of those have gone bi-weekly now, so you can find those out there as they are doing their respective things. The Bottom Line cast just did a great episode. They are going back to explore some other episodes of Steve Austin, so they're talking about stunning Steve Austin. So some fun stuff out there. Like I said, we got extra content over on YouTube. We got figure unboxings. We got our SummerSlam vlog over there. So if you're not following us on YouTube, you are missing out on some Talking Taker content over there. Want to say next month on the show, this was a bit of a we went off onto Dead Man's Curve, off the track, off road on this one. We're gonna take it back to tradition, back to the Undertaker in the ring here. Next month, October, is going to be the 20-year anniversary of a match that you and I, Travis, both held in very high esteem. In fact, we both ranked it number 1 for the Dead,
the American BA.
Yeah, the Big Evil Biker Taker era.
Yeah.
No Mercy 2002, Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Hell in a Cell. So we're going to do a 20-year retrospective on that and do it watch-along style.
20 years.
Can't wait to revisit that one. That'll be our October episode.
Yeah.
And we'd love your suggestions. If you've got any other Taker movies or content you want us to watch, let us know. Anything else that we're missing in the Taker chronology, we'd love to hear about. Listen to last month's 5-year anniversary episode. I will say, hopefully I sounded okay. I am just now getting over COVID this month. It was no joke. First time I've had that here. Avoided it for 2.5 years. Finally had it. So be safe out there, folks. Protect yourself. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated. Do all that stuff. It is no joke. It was no fun. But thankfully, I am on the mend. Travis, you got some new music coming out in the month of September, I believe?
Yeah, it should be Monday, September 26th. Very short. 3 songs, very different for me style-wise. A little more on the nose, praise and worshipy than my other stuff. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's been released at the end of the month. It's called Bridges. It's just very short and sweet.
Cool.
And got one more show for the year coming up in October. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Very excited for that. Always excited to hear some new music. Be sure to follow at Travis White Music on Instagram and follow him on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff as well. And, man, that's all I got.
That's all we got.
Ladies
and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Go watch this movie on HBO Max where they cancel it and get it out of there, or, turn it over to Netflix or something. Who knows? But, yeah, thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there. And, as always, take her easy. And do a headstand.
Ray easy.
Exactly. Leave that in.